Okay, class, so now we're in section 1.6. And the title of section 1.6 is Other Types of Equations. So in this section, we're going to be solving by factoring. We're going to be solving one using the radical equations. We're going to solve equation with two radicals. We're going to do some equations with rational exponents. So it's probably broken up into 2 or 3 videos because there's so many different ways to actually solve these problems. So for the first one, we're going to start off by doing something I'm sure you're very familiar with, which is solving by factoring. Solving by factoring. So solving by factoring, we all know what factoring is. So one of the things to remember there is you want all your numbers with exponents and variables associated with them on one side and a 0 on the other side. For example, if we have 4x to the 4th power equals 12x squared. What we would like to do is bring this 12x over here and have this 0 on this side. And we know that in order to bring the 12x over here, we have to subtract it from both sides. So we subtract 12x squared here. We do the same thing over here. Then we would have 4x to the 4th, 4x to the 4th, minus 12x squared equals 0. Now that we have that, remember, it's solved by factoring. So we can factor this here. We can factor out of 4x squared out of this here. So we have 4x squared, put our parentheses, set that there, equals to 0. Then we ask ourselves, what must I multiply 4x squared by in order to get 4x to the 4th? That is x squared. Then we say, what must I multiply 4x squared by in order to get 12x squared? That is 3. So now that we have just factored that out, now we still have to solve this. So in order to solve it, we set both of these equal to 0. So we say 4x squared is equal to 0, and x squared minus 3 is equal to 0. If we set 4x squared equals to 0, we divide both sides by 4. Doing that, this of x squared is equal to 0. If we get the square root of both sides, it's just x is equal to 0 for that one right there. Now we still have x squared minus 3 is equal to 0. So we get our variable on one side and our real number on the other side. So now we have x squared is equal to 3. Because in order to get rid of this 3 here, we had to add 3 on both sides. So now that we have that, we take the square root of both sides in order to get rid of this x squared. Square root here, square root there. Okay, so now this is x is equal to plus or minus square root of 3. So our answer is 0, comma, plus or minus square root of 3. So that's solving by factoring. We're going to do another one. I'm going to erase this here to give us more space, same as I've done in other videos, and put the title up here, Solving by Factoring. Okay, so this next problem is 5x to the 4th is equal to 320x. 5x to the 4th is equal to 320x. So let's go ahead and set this up the same way we did the last problem, in that we brought what was over here on this side and set it equal to 0. So now it is 5x to the 4th minus 320x is equal to 0. Then we ask ourselves, can we factor anything out there? Indeed, we can factor 5x out there. So we will have 5x, and this would be x to the 3rd, minus 64 is equal to 0. Because we said, what must I multiply 5x by in order to get 5x to the 4th? That's x cubed. What must I multiply 5x by in order to get 320? That would be 64. That's how we got that there. So we can set both of these equal to 0. We can say 5x is equal to 0. Divide both sides by 5. X is equal to 0. But we still have this x cubed minus 64 is equal to 0. Now, if you recall, there was something called the difference of cubes. And the difference of cubes stated that a minus b is a squared plus ab plus b squared. A squared plus ab plus b squared. Okay. But in order to use difference of cubes, we had to ask ourselves, is this a perfect cube and is this a perfect cube? Yes, because we could say this is just x, and then what number is the cube root of 64? That's 4. So for this problem here, we know our a is x and our b is 4. Knowing that, we can plug it into there. So now what we have is a minus b, so that's x minus 4. Then we have x squared plus 4x plus 16. X squared plus 4x plus 16. Because all we did was we knew what a was and we knew what b, so we just plug those into the difference of cubes formula. Then we say, also set it equal to 0. Can't forget that. X minus 4 is equal to 0. We want to get 4 over here, x over here. We know it has to be a plus 4 on both sides. So it's x is equal to 4. So x is equal to 4 there. X equals 0 here. But we still have that right there that we have not solved yet. And one of the best ways to solve that would be, let's use the quadratic equation, which we had in the last class. Well, that I showed in the previous section. We do that by just saying, what is our a here? I'm going to take this and bring it up here because this is the only thing we have to solve now. Would be this x squared plus 4x plus 16 is equal to 0. What is our a? Our a is 1, our b is 4, and our c is 16. Remember the quadratic equation said a minus b plus a minus b squared minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So once again, we take this information here and we plug it right into here. Minus b, that's a minus 4, plus or minus square root b squared, 4 squared minus 4, a is 1, c is 16, all over 2 multiplied by 1, which is 2. So if we go ahead and we do the simplifying there, that will be minus 4 plus or minus, minus 4 plus or minus, square root negative 48, all over 2. And we know that we cannot have a negative up under the square root sign, so we pull that out as an I. So it's minus 4 plus or minus I square root of 48 over 2. Then we go and we simplify this square root of 48. That will be the square root of 16 times 3. So now it is, I'm going to come over here because I'm running out of real estate, as you see, minus 4 plus or minus I square root of 16 square root of 3 all over 2. Okay, now I'm saying minus 4 plus or minus 4i square root of 3 over 2. So, a lot of steps to this problem, but we're getting there. We can simplify this here. We can break this up, say minus 4 over 2 plus or minus 4i square root of 3 over 2. Simplifying this, minus 4 divided by 2, that's a minus 2, plus or minus 4 divided by 2, 2i square root of 3. So we have three answers here. 0, x equals 0, x equals 4, negative 2 plus or minus 2I square root of 3. So all of these will be the answer to this one problem here. Okay, so this is solving by factoring. Let's do one more. Let me do one more solving by factoring. This next one is x minus 2 squared plus 2 x minus 2 minus 15 equals 0. So, first thing we do here, let's go ahead and let's get rid of these parentheses that we have. So we have x minus 2 squared. So we can just say x minus 2, x minus 2, x minus 2, x minus 2, plus 2, x minus 2 minus 15 equals 0. X minus 2 and x minus 2, that's x squared, minus 2x, inside, minus 2x, outside, plus 4, plus 2x squared, or 2x, sorry, and 2x and 2, minus 4, minus 15 equals 0. So now we have a lot of things that are alike that we can add or subtract on this side of the equal sign. Once we do that, we know that x squared is no other x squared here, so we can just bring that right down just like that, x squared. Now, what we have is, we have a 2x here, a negative 2x and a negative 2x. That gives us a minus 4x. Minus 4x plus 2x. That gives us what? Minus 2x, exactly. So that's minus 2x there. Minus 2x. So we've dealt with the x's. We've dealt with x squared. We dealt with 2x there. Dealt with 2x there. Now we have plus 4 minus 4. That's 0. Plus 4 minus 4, or 4 minus 4 is 0. Then we're just left with a minus 15 equals 0. Now that we have that, we can put it into a quadratic formula, or we can factor it. So let's factor it. Factoring is much easier. Well, it depends on how you look at this, because if you put it into a quadratic equation, it's just a lot more steps. But you know what your A will be 1, your B will be a minus 2, and your C will be a 15. And you will put it into there, and you will solve that straight down just by plugging in. Factoring, we just say an x here and an x there. And we know that this is minus 5, this is plus 3. Then we just say x minus 5 is equal to 0. X plus 3 is equal to 0. X is equal to 5. X is equal to minus 3. And those two are our answers for this problem right here. As I said, if we would have did factoring, with the quadratic equation, we know our A was 1, our B minus 2, and our C was minus 15. We could have just plugged all that right in. That would be 2. I'm just going to draw a line right here. That would be 2. Well, let me write the equation. B squared, a negative B squared, plus or minus square root of, that's negative B. What is the equation? Quadratic equation, quadratic equation. Negative B plus or minus B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. So, negative and a negative 2 plus or minus square root of B squared. So, negative 2 squared minus 4. A is 1. C minus 15. Always seem like the C is minus 15. And the 2 and the 1 here. So then we have a positive 2 over here, plus or minus the square root, negative 2 of negative 2, that's 4. The minus and the minus are positive. So 15 multiplied by 4 is what? 15 multiplied by 4 is 60, right? So this is plus 60 all over 2, right? Okay, so now we have 2 plus or minus the square root of 64 over 2. 2 plus or minus square root of 64 over 2. You know, square root of 64 is 8, so 64 is a perfect square. So then we have, put this 2 plus or minus 8 over 2. And we can break this up to say 2 over 2 plus or minus 8 over 2. So then it is 1 plus or minus 4. So 1 plus 4 is 5. So 1 plus 4 is 5. 1 minus 4 is minus 3. So get the same exact thing. The 5 and the minus 3. 5 minus 3. So it's two different ways of solving it. You can do it this way or this way, whichever way you feel more comfortable with. So that's solving by factoring right there. All right, I'm going to erase this now. Okay.